What's up, everyone? Mankini here with Mankini TV, and I'm sitting down with Skye from Sumo Cyco.
It's Mankini TV. It's my show.
Skye, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I can't complain. It's been a while coming for this.
Yeah. I just before the camera started rolling, you were saying that not only did we run into earlier on this tour time we were supposed to get together and you became ill, and then another time we were supposed to hook up yesterday and I didn't get back to you in time to make for the rush hour traffic, and then you told me that like 3 years ago you even tried to make an interview happen. So it's been a long time coming.
It has been. You've been high on my list. I'm like, I'm gonna get them. This is gonna happen one day. Here we are. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So you just finished your first U.S. headline tour.
Yes, we just did, and it's crazy because, you know, we've been a band for now like 10 years, and to think that it's our first time actually finally going through the States, you know, on our own headline run, it was kind of bittersweet in some ways because it's like, you know, something we've been meaning to do for so long, but it's also like coming out of this whole pandemic where we're just like, hey, does anyone remember us from before? So, and yeah, but it was cool. The Cycos came out to support and we had a lot of fun, and it was cool to finally get to play like all the songs we want to. You know, when you do an opening set, you only get half an hour maybe, but doing our own headline, you kind of get to do what you want and play what you want. You
Going
know?
all out.
Exactly.
It looked like a lot of fun. Like, you guys looked like you were having like a blast, like the best time ever.
Yeah, I mean, there's always ups and downs on tour. It's like one of those things that on stage my job pretty much description is to make people have fun. So you just want to make everyone in the audience feel welcome and have a good time. But behind the scenes, there was like so much drama with our vehicle, with trying to get like situated. I was saying earlier, we had a mechanic actually lend us his pickup truck to do like the first part of the tour. And then we had a rental. And then I was sick for a while, so I had to cancel a couple shows. And then I was dealing with my voice not coming back. And I was like, every day was like, I have this vocal steamer that I was using every day and doing like crazy vocal warm-ups and doing everything I could to like make sure I could make the shows. And then I'd play and like pass out right after. I'd be like, I can't move. So yeah, and on the stage, everything looks like super fun, but sometimes people don't realize like all the stuff going on behind the scenes. And even to get to this tour we're on now, we had an issue where our RV steps, they are automatic, so they're supposed to come out when you need to step down, and then they suck in when you're about to drive. Okay. But they wouldn't come in, so they were just stuck out, and we couldn't drive on the highway like that because they were like inches off the ground. So we had it was like a sweltering day, heat wave. So we had to get those uninstalled, and we just like threw them in the bay because we couldn't deal with it. And then the same night, we blew a tire on our trailer, and we were on the side of the highway. And I guess there's like a wire that runs on the inside of the tire. Okay. So it wrapped around the drive shaft like crazy, like a tangled necklace, I called it, because it was just like wire in and out, and it was all this sharp sticking out. And all the guys were like, I don't know how we're going to do this. Like, how are we going to get this off? We have to call like, you know, AAA or figure out how we're going to get this. I'm like, I got this. I got my needle nose pliers for my jewelry. And I was just like slowly working at it like a puzzle. So yeah, so there's been highs, there's been lows, but we made it through.
You've made it through it. Oh my gosh, that seems like that's a lot to go through. And you're right, like behind the scenes, you're like, this is what we go through just to come and play shows. For
sure. And like I think that like even purchasing this vehicle we're in right now, like we purchased this used right before we left on tour, and you just don't know what you're getting into sometimes when you get a used vehicle. So we're still learning about it. Like things will surprise us. We'll be like, oh, that does that, and that does this, and this comes out like this, and we're like, oh my gosh. It took like all of our band member power to even figure out how to put the awning out, and then we're like really nervous because even what we're sitting on now, it's like a pop out, and we had this get stuck because there's a mechanism that has like some chains, and they were grinding against each other, and we couldn't figure out how to get it back in. And if it wasn't for Matt, our guitarist, like literally trying to hang off the top to like weigh it down so that the chains didn't like rub on each other, I don't know how we would have got this thing back in. And now we're like too afraid to put it back out. So we're still gonna have to like troubleshoot some of this stuff when we get home, but she gets us from A to B so far right now, knock on wood. So we're feeling optimistic we'll get through the rest of the tour.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hell yeah. I want to touch on something you mentioned, like it's your job to like make the crowd have fun, like that's your thing. you're really good at that. I notice, like, when you're on stage, like, you're not just on stage, you're standing on bars, on people's shoulders, like, you're all over the place. You command attention, like, you're really amazing with that, like, and how
thank you.
involve the crowd and how you're so powerful with, like, everyone there. Like, I feel like once you hit that stage, all of a sudden it's like, all right, this is my show now. Like, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, when I come to a venue, I don't just look at the stage and be like, that's my spot. I look at the entire room and try to feel as engaging as possible. And I really love crowd interaction. I really love to make people feel like they have that special moment to come home and talk to their friends about, of like, oh man, the singer came up to me and he was like screaming in my face, or she got us all to get low on the floor, or the guitar player came right by me and is like, girl was on his shoulders. And I want the stories, the good stories. So for me, it's it's a little bit about the showmanship for me, more so than necessarily just playing your songs like perfect. For me, it's about putting on like a show where there's a visual aspect and the sonic aspect. But I think sometimes, there's certain types of musicians and that's their thing. If they take themselves like, where it's like, I got to play this to the note, they can't deviate from their song. It's got to be exactly the way they want. Whereas we're like, if stuff goes wrong, if like, someone breaks a string or whatever, we'll figure out a way to make it work. We're just the type of band that's more about like, just like, lets the show go on instead of stopping everything because like something didn't go right. It's like, no, just keep going, power through.
And you're like, oh no, keep going. We're going to do this.
Yeah. But even last night we were playing in Baltimore and something was crossed with the monitors where it's like, I was saying, hey, I was on stage. So we were literally playing and I was like, hey, monitor guy, can I get some more vocal? And then my bass player would get like crazy amounts of vocal and then I would have none. And then the guitar would just like cut out. And then there was like feedback. So then the owner of the club was like behind some of the power bars and just randomly clicking on and off to see if that was the feedback. And I was like, uh-oh. I'm like, that's not how we figure this out.
Oh, no.
So I was like in one of my like pinnacle moments where I'm like, got everyone in the crowd to get low on the floor. And I'm just about to say like the last note to get everybody to jump. And my mic just cuts right out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, you know what? Everyone can see me jumping. We're just jumping. Like, I don't know. Like, there's nothing I could do at this point. Just got to go on with the show.
Just do what I do right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man,
yeah.
that is rough.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, you don't know what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you arrive to a new venue, most of the time you're got new local bands, you're running into new sound people, new room. So sometimes it's just luck of the draw that things don't happen the way you want them to. But it's, like I said, it's our job to try to make the crowd have fun. But my guitarist, man, Maddie, he will not be able to, keep a straight face or like, some people say like, oh, don't make a bad face or like the crowd will know like something's gone wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he won't make a bad face. Like he'll be like, what the fuck is going on? He's like all angry. And I'm like, Matt, chill down. These people in the audience, half the time they don't even realize something's going wrong. If it's like a monitor mix issue or something like that, they don't even care. They're just there drinking their beer going like, hey, that looks pretty cool. But he will make it known. So he wears his like heart, his head, everything is just like out there. Like he does not hold back. He's very
like,
honest.
This is what's going on.
Yeah.
Hey, fuck you, sound guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I apologize. I actually was at a show recently where the singer, he was having issues in his monitor, and he stopped his song, and I could have swore he was going to fight the sound guy. He jumped off stage and ran over to the soundboard and began playing with it himself.
Oh my god!
And I was like, oh, okay, this is what's happening?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've been in those situations, and it's so awkward for the audience. Because you just don't know what to do. Like, you can't cheer, but at the same time, you're like, I don't really want to boo either. So it's like you're just kind of silent, waiting for something to happen.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
Do I sing to you? What happens?
Yeah, exactly.
Sumo Cyco isn't your first foray into music.
No, it's not.
So you started out, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if we call it pop singer.
Yeah.
Okay. How did that all start?
So when I was about 12 years old, I met like a really amazing music teacher and her husband who basically gave me the confidence to try to do this for a living. And even at that young age, they saw something in me that they were like, I think if you pursue this, like you got what it takes. So they really took me under their wing. And I learned a lot. Ricky Rumble was her name, and she took me to all of her session singing gigs. So she would do like commercials and stuff where she'd be singing the jingle for like an advertisement. And she would take me there and show me how the studio worked, how the microphone worked, like how everything was. And Don, her husband, was at the time was into songwriting, so he would teach me about like certain song structures, and we would like do like pseudo songwriting lessons where I would have to take one of my favorite songs and like rewrite all the lyrics.
Oh wow, okay.
So after that, I was like, okay, I'm hooked. Like this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life.
This is it.
And then things just started going really fast. From there, I got a record deal, got signed with Capitol Records, went on tour with people like Britney Spears and at the time Ryan Cabrera. I don't know if you guys remember. That's like an OG 2000s artist. He's probably still around. Hey, Ryan, if you're out there doing your thing. That was some fun times. So we did like a ton of really cool shows, got to travel the world doing pop music. And then years passed, crazy life up and down. And by the time I got to like my early 20s, I was like, hey, I think I have something else in me that I need to explore that's beyond what I was doing. And that's when kind of Sumo Cyco was born, with Matt, my guitarist in Sumo Cyco, was actually the hired guitarist for when I was playing in my pop music.
Oh.
So he auditioned when I was like 14 to like be in my backing band, and then we just got to know each other through that, and then started a band together.
Wow.
All these years later.
So I've got to ask, Sumo Cyco, the name,
Mm-hmm.
what does it mean, and the spelling of psycho?
Yeah, so Sumo Cyco was a band name we came up with right before we played our first show. And I don't know, some bands may have a similar story where it's like you can like do music and figure out where you're going, but as soon as you have to play an actual show, you need a band name. You can't be like unknown, not yet decided, TBA, to be announced. Like, no, you have to come up with a name. So I just like, it was funny because I tell people sometimes it was like a random band name generator.com that like helps me figure it out. But I was literally like plugging in like random words into the internet and like searching stuff, and I would just write this long list of words until finally it was like, it's like the end of the line. I had to figure out what we were going to call ourselves. And I was like, okay, Sumo, because we're like heavy, big, in your face, powerful, psycho, a little bit crazy off the wall. And then Matt was like, hey, why don't we spell psycho like CYCO, like A Node to Suicidal Tendencies, which is a band that he really loves, that they kind of have psycho in all their songs. When they spell it, they always spell it CYCO. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I like the four letters. Let's see if we can get a URL, sumocyco.com was open. Okay. Liking this. Okay. Let's go with it. And to this day, we're still have these moments where we're like, do we like this band name? Like, are people confused by the band name? Like, did they know how to pronounce it? Like, we're always asking our questions, like, did we make a mistake with that one? But, it's who we are. So people have it tattooed on them now, so they can't go back.
I was going to say that's it now. Once the first one gets tattooed up there, you're like, well, we can't change it now.
Yeah.
That person's going to be so mad at us. Oh, my gosh. Have you ever heard anyone mispronounce it wrong? Like, woke up to you, oh.
Yeah, just like they can't get the psycho. They'll just say Cyco or Kaiko or Ki, whatever. They just can't pronounce it. So I'm like, maybe we should have spelled it like normal psycho. But then again, then no one would be able to spell it because I always spell it wrong too. So who knows?
You're like, no,
Can't
this
win.
isn't right.
You can't win. But anyway, it is what it is now. We're Sumo Cyco.
Forever.
Yeah.
So when you're on the road, I gotta ask, what's your favorite eats? Like, what's your go-to eats on the road?
Well, we're big fans of like Mexican food.
Oh, I love it.
If I get a chance, like I would love like sushi. That's like my favorite. I love Thai food. I mean, I love so many different types of food. But this is actually our first tour that we've actually had like a little kitchen inside of our ride. So last night I actually stir fried and like made like a kind of like a home cooked meal on the road. I was like, this is so weird. But normally on previous tours, we had this like tiny little barbecue, and we would just like bring it out of our trailer and just like barbecue at the end of every night and just put like dogs or burgers on the grill or chicken or salmon or veggies and just have a little cookout every night.
Nice.
So
Okay.
yeah, we used to do that like every single day until the last couple tours. Yeah, it was like pretty much like our routine. But now that we have a little more space, we have a bigger fridge so we can keep things a little longer. Yeah, we're coming up with new strategies for eating on the road.
I like it. So now it's like we're not going to spend money on the road. We're just going to make our own food.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's lots of opportunities because we've got a convection oven, we've got an oven, we've got a stove. So yeah, I even brought a blender so I can make smoothies and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, you're just set up in here completely. You guys are
Yeah.
like, you know what? Forget it. We're going to live on the road at this point.
Yeah, for sure. That's what the whole idea is, to try to make it comfortable enough that you don't start getting homesick or start hating life because I've definitely had my fair share of moments where I was like literally so close to my breaking point. Like on the road, was it right before the pandemic hit? We were doing a tour in the winter and the road was completely shut down. So we were stuck and we just so happened to have issues with our tour vehicle that like completely broke down. So we were in a U-Haul and the U-Haul only has like 3 seats in the front and then one of us was like stuck in the back with like locked in with all of the storage. So, and I had the flu at the time. We were stuck on the highway. The highway didn't open for 12 hours. We were in a blizzard. I'm like shivering because I'm not only sick, but I'm like, there's nowhere to get food. All we could do was hike like a mile back to like the nearest, like it was like a rest station that has those like vending machines and like a bathroom. And like we were so cold and hungry. We just like ate vending machine food for like 12 hours. And like Oscar, my bass player, like literally went to sleep on the floor in the men's bathroom because it was the only place that was warm. And I was like, man, this is like real like tour life, like hardcore, like we're just sitting here waiting for the highway to open. Like, we don't know, like, we're like, I was starting to think, like, should we ration this, like, vending machine food? But, like, how long are we going to be in here? So, yeah. So, moments like that, you're like, oh, my God, why am I doing this? This is so crazy. But, yeah, you get through and it's a story to tell.
Holy cow, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've slept on bathroom floors willingly, I guess. It wasn't because it was warm. I was just drunk. This is like a good place to pass out.
Yeah, I feel you on that. But, yeah, damn. Some of those moments you're just like kind of looking at your life like, how did I get here?
So with that said, does pineapple belong on pizza?
I totally love pineapple on pizza. I am not against it. Pineapple is like one of my favorite fruits. So yeah, I'll put it on the grill with some cinnamon, put it on the pizza, find a new spot for pineapple. I'm open to suggestions.
And anything with pineapple.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I'm with it. So last year, I'm correct, you guys dropped Initiation?
Yeah.
All right, and how's that? That was what the headline tour was in support of.
Yeah, finally. So some of these songs we've been playing, we haven't been able to play for like over a year because of the pandemic. So it's kind of nice to actually play them live. But yeah, it was really the only thing that got me through that pandemic was working on an album, because I think if I didn't have that like a little bit of focus and like drive to get that accomplished, I think I would have just like been sucked into my couch and never come back. Like it was like, one of those times where days just don't mean anything anymore and you just have no idea what's going on with the world. And just like I wrote a lot about it. I mean, I wrote a lot of the songs during that time. We wrote some of the album before the pandemic, and then after, I almost changed my entire strategy of what the record was going to be about. Originally, I wanted it to be about like this love story, and then I started being like, no, I can't write about that right now. Like, I have to write about what I'm feeling. And so I wrote songs like Bad News, which was basically about hearing like bad news 24 hours a day all the time. It didn't feel like anything was going to get better. And songs like Bystander, where you're kind of watching the world fall apart from your living room and from a screen, and you're just like, I just don't want to be sitting here, just watch the world fall apart. What can I do? I just felt so helpless. So it was, lots of different kind of themes that were inspired by the pandemic. So it got me through, just being able to channel that energy in a positive way.
Nice. Absolutely. During the pandemic, I watched as everybody, like, they were able to channel their creativity, and they had this outlet. And I just watched so many people, whether it be, some people may challenge me on this, whether it be people on TikTok, YouTube, musicians. There was just so much creativity going on, and so many people embracing their art, writing and whatnot. It was a beautiful moment in like this really dark time. Yeah. And like you had said, the bad news 24 hours a day, it's all it was. Yeah. It was just, hey guys, it's not getting any better. Just so you know, you're like, really? Nothing. You guys can't give me any hope, anything.
Yeah.
It's just nope. Sorry, it still sucks.
Yeah, and all the news organizations are loving it. They're like, this is great. Like, all people need to do is like be like, what's going on now? Because it was just like so many issues I felt like were happening that I just felt so like I was just like a wallflower, like watching like a disaster happen in front of me. And I'm like, wait, no, that just, the milk just spilt. Okay. Yeah. That was like me last night with a beer. When beer goes all over your merch table, it's like the worst case scenario for anyone at merch. I was watching this one girl with her drink, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch it. Like, she'll probably be fine. It probably won't spill or whatever. And I do that one moment where you're just like glance away just for a second, and you look back, and it's all over the merch table, and then it's like dripping, and you're like, no, save the t-shirts, because you don't want it to go in the bin with all the t-shirts, because no one wants beer all over their t-shirt. So, yeah, so that's kind of that thing where you see it in slow motion before it happens, and then you realize you're too late to catch it.
Oh, man, that's got to be the worst. That's one of those things that, I always think about. You buy your merch in the beginning of the night just so you don't have alcohol or anything with you.
Yeah.
But I've always seen people, at the end of the night, they're in line for merch, and I'm like, a lot of these people are already, like, wasted and have, like, beers. And, like, if this goes everywhere, we're real, like, ruined.
Yeah, it's true. And you spend so much time, like, setting up the display and stuff, and then it's, like, all sticky now. Great. So yeah, a lot of merch. You'll see they'll have the sign like no drinks. It's not they're trying to be like rude to you. They just really don't want all the merch to get, sticky and gross for all the
just a nice
customers.
Note. Please don't ruin the merch, guys.
Yeah.
Gosh, seriously.
It's how we make our money. It's how we got to get from A to B, especially with these gas prices out here. We got to pay for it somehow.
If they get any worse, I mean, I'm gonna get back on my bicycle and just I'm gonna haul my cameras around that way.
Oh man, that would be a spectacle. You with your Mankini on the bicycle.
Someone has told me to do that. I'm like, where am I going to bike to? They're like, just do it anywhere. And I'm like, are you sure? Just bike anywhere. Come on. At gas prices, though, I might have no choice.
Yeah.
So where are you going, bud? I'm on my way to a show. I got to do an interview, and it's in 2 hours, so I got to leave now.
Yeah.
So, I want to touch also, obviously I've got my cameras here. You've directed a lot of the Sumo Cyco, if not all of the videos.
Yeah. So it's kind of like our side passion is doing music videos. And ever since we started this band, we knew that in order to survive as an independent band when we started out, it's like you have to cut corners. You have to learn how to do things yourself because at the time, you don't have a huge company working for you. You don't have the dollars to put into stuff. So we figured if we could learn how to do some of the things that would cost us a lot of money, we could save it. So we thought, okay, one of the big expenses is like music video budgets. Mm-hmm. So got on my camera, first started renting gear and did the first couple of videos. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling like this is cool. Maybe I should invest in some. So got my first camera, and then that was going well. Got a couple more lights and just slowly started building out my skills and our gear. And Matt, the guitarist, has also been a huge influence on me because he's super into like B and C and D and E horror movies all the way down the list. It doesn't get, you could have the worst quality, possible film and he'll find something to love about it. But, yeah, so he's really into that stuff, and he loves all those like practical effect hacks. And I did a little, we've had like stop motion animation we've used a few times, and we're not really technical people. We're that creative people, but we always figure out a way to make it work and like do it within like an interesting budget. And for me, it's all about finding like the resources that you have and making them work. So if some friend of yours has like a really cool location, it's like, okay, how do we write a treatment around this cool location? Or, if you have a cool costume or something that you came across, it's like, how do we integrate this into the music video? So for us, it's always been about that, like kind of like we start kind of hoarding all these different like props and things that we find on the side of the road that we're like, oh, that could be used for a music video. Let's like keep it. And one day like we'll be like, oh man, that was perfect thing that you found, that old horse statue. Like that's going to be perfect for the video or whatever. You just never know. So I think I have a little bit of that like side of me that like always thinks I could find something to use something for at some point. So I'm kind of a pack rat that way.
I know that feel. That's me.
Yeah.
And I get yelled at for it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, listen, I'm telling you, there's going to be a use for this. And she's like, why do you need a 2-pronged fork that's 2 feet long? I was like, trust me.
Yeah,
Trust
one day
me.
you're going to be like, where is that 2-pronged fork?
Exactly.
I have to reach for something in a really small place, and that's going to be perfect to get it.
You'd be like, oh my gosh, I never thought I would need this. And I'd be like, see?
Yeah. The worst feeling is when you throw something away and then a use comes down the line and you're like, oh man, if I only had that 2-pronged fork.
Yeah, then you're like, damn it, see, I told you I knew it.
Yeah.
Well, anything you want to say to anybody out there that hasn't been introduced to Sumo Cyco, doesn't know your music yet, or is just getting in?
Yeah. Well, Sumo Cyco, if you guys want to check out the band, I think the best place to start is YouTube because we do all of our own videos. You can check out the music. So just look us up, sumocyco.com or SUMOCYCO on all the socials. We got TikTok going. We got, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. And right now we're on tour, so we got tons of content coming your way with lots of video and footage from life on the road and all the craziness going down. You never know what you're going to get. Even today we ran into a guy at our truck stop that we stopped at who had this dog who he trained to attack people and just brought this massive vest. You've seen them on TV where they have attack dogs and they have to wear this big coat.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't hurt you when they grab. He had one of these just in his car or in his truck or whatever. And yeah, so Joey, our drummer, is like, yeah, I'll take the dog on. So he wears this big coat and the dog's literally jumping on him, attacking him. It's like, dude, you need to keep your arms. You're a drummer. I mean, come on. You can't get your arm bit off. This is not a good look. So, but anyway, that's what we came across this morning. So you never know what you're going to come across on life on the road. So, yeah.
I really wish I traveled constantly more. I mean, these stories, these are really great. Of all things to happen, it's you're like, oh yeah, my dog attacks people. Put this on if you want. And you're like,
yeah.
Wait, what?
I know. The dog was so cute, and we just started asking about it. He's like, yeah, super trained. His name was Achilles. He's been training him for 2 years to be super obedient, be able to attack people if he wants to attack them. I'm I was kind of scared. Matt and I were I don't know if this is a good idea. We just met this guy on the side of the road, with his dog that's ready to attack you. I don't know if this is a good scenario, but
It's totally the beginning of a horror movie.
Yeah,
it's literally how it starts. Someone gets bit by the dog and then finds out the dog had some radioactive
rabies, or something, and then now it's we're all turning into zombies. While we're playing on stage tonight. Starts setting in.
We'd all think it was part of the show, though, so nobody would know.
Exactly. And everyone starts cheering, thinking you're doing a great job, and then it's no, guys, you should be getting out of here.
That's how the real zombie apocalypse starts.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was a concert.
Yeah.
It looked so real. Yes, it was. Skye, I appreciate you sitting down and talking with me.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Pleasure. So much fun. I'm looking forward to catching this set tonight.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Absolutely. Well, look, it's been my pleasure. I'm Mankini. This is Mankini TV. This has been Skye, Sumo Cyco. You know where to catch them.
SumoCyco.com. Thanks, Mankini. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.